So, good afternoon, everyone. So, we have a problem with the Corvette overheating. And basically, what's happening is the cooling fans are not kicking on. So, I tried to work on this last night. Um, and I checked all my connections because if you see my video before, I got rid of connectors and I spliced in just direct wires. I checked all my connections. They were pretty tight. I even redid some of them, and that wasn't the issue. So, with the last ditch effort, what I did is I unplugged the wiring harness to the fan control module, and sure enough, when I unplugged it, water came falling out of the electrical connection. And this is probably attributed to all the heavy rains we had last week, and then sometimes I went through some really deep puddles without me knowing it, and I think that's what happened. So I tried to disconnect the plug and let water just drain out of it. However, and I also put a heater underneath it. However, that didn't seem like it solved the issue because I thought it did, but it really didn't. So what I'm doing today is I'm gonna hot wire basically a toggle switch for me to turn the fans on and off as I please, and it's gonna be a temporary fix until I get another fan control module. So that's what I'm gonna be going through today. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jack the car up, get underneath, and just get to work. And with the wires, it's a really straightforward process. I've wired stuff up before with toggle switch, but I'm gonna try to make this one look a lot more professional. So what I'm gonna do is here in the dash, you see I don't have selective ride control like my wife's car, and I'm gonna drill a hole in here and have a toggle switch there so it looks a little bit more professional, more clean, instead of me velcroing it somewhere. So let's go and get started with jacking the car up. So right here is the connector that was filled with water. So I'm gonna see if I can pull it off. It's not an easy connector to pull off. There we are. It's this connector. Nothing came out this time, but you can see a little bit of that white corrosion in there because of the water. But one of the electrical engineer at work, Eric, he's the principal engineer, one of the head electrical engineers. He recommended me try to just let this dangle and cool off. Try to drain out for a couple more days, because he says it's a robust system. It shouldn't be so sensitive. So that's what I'm gonna do. But in the meantime, so that I can keep driving it, I'm gonna go ahead and do the power switch. Sorry about the camera. I'm looking and not doing the same thing. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna tap into the red cable, which is the power cable, and I'm gonna run it up to the actual switch, and then the switch, and to the battery, yada yada yada. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna do the section that requires I'm gonna do the switch that goes from the battery to the switch. That's the first thing I'm gonna do, because it's just part of my thought process. So this is about 10 to 12 gauge cable, and let's see, where's my cable at? So I got 50 feet of 10 gauge cable, and that's what I'm gonna use. So we're gonna start with crimping one end to one of these, and no, not one of these, because I'm doing a positive first. So crimping one end to one of these terminals. I brought some bigger 10 gauge terminals. I don't know why I always be burping when I'm on these videos like that. So one of these right here. And I'm going to attach it to the switch. So I just got a basic little toggle switch. You can see right here. So going ahead, I'm going to attach to the... Ooh, I forgot which post. I'll figure it out. And I'll tell you guys. I think it's the... I think it's the center post, but I'll figure it out. But anyway, let's go and get that going. Okay, as of right now, I got my positive crimped on there, on this little terminal post. Now I'm going to be running a wire in between these body panels through the door jamb, and then I'm going to go up into, probably somewhere underneath the dash, and then try to get it fished in here. And then I'll do the fan one and the negative the same way. So yeah, let's do this part, and then I'll reconvene with you guys. Okay, so I went ahead and cut it. Go ahead and cut the wire off because I'm pretty sure I got plenty of length. So I want to do a test run first. Um, so I got the positive hooked up to the middle, as you can see right there. So I'm about to do the ground next, just to make sure that the light is actually working. So one of the things is this will take a 10 gauge inside, but it won't fit over the terminal post, as you can see here. Like, it's really, I mean, I could jam it on there. So one thing I'm doing, just trying to show you a quick little hack, is I'm taking some wire cutters and I'm just cutting. Sorry about the camera. I'm cutting the middle of it here, so it kind of be like a pitchfork, to where it's similar to one like this, and it allows me to slip it around over the post. So just want to show you guys real quick. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the negative and route it and do the same thing and plug it in there and see if the light's actually getting power and working. So let's do that. Okay, so I got both connections hooked up. The last one I need to do is the actual power on and off switch for the fans. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. So I'm going to have to go up underneath here and let's see. Still using 10 gauge wire. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut, or I'm not gonna cut. I'm gonna use this to break right in here. This is specifically meant to 10 to 12 gauge wire, and I'm gonna connect the wire here. Sorry about the camera again. So yeah, this should be pretty simple. So let's go and try this and see if it all works. So as of right now, we got it working with the long wire. I haven't trimmed it down yet. I was just running a test run. So as you can see right here, see if I can get it with both hands. See if I can lay it, maybe if I lay it down. See, I touch it here, touch it right there, and flick the switch. Come on. Damn it. See, I can't get it with one hand, but trust me, it works. So the only way I have to get it work is I have to leave the connector plugged in. That reason being I have the connector plugged in is because I have it tapped in here to the connector. Yeah, I know it doesn't look pretty, but I'll make it look pretty. The ground wire is still grounding, so it's still getting its normal ground feed from all these yellow wires I had working on up over here. So if I want to get it separated out, oh, I'm sorry about the camera. If I want to get it separated out, I'm gonna have to tap into the ground for the fan, which is this black cable right here, and then ground it somewhere else on the car. I really don't know if I want to do that, because that means I gotta find either another ground, or I'll run a wire up to the negative side of the battery terminal. So I'll think about it quick, real second, and then I'll think about what I want to do. So yeah. Alright, so I'm currently working the wires and routing them. As you can see, I got them kind of trying to tuck them up here behind the glove box. It's like a little lip to where you can get it. Can't see it because it's actually in that lip. You can see it right there. And then I'm running it through over here through the carpet, pull down the carpet, but I'll tuck it back up. Sorry about the hand. I'll tuck it back under there once I run it in the carpet. As you can see, there's two of the wires right here, and then I'm running it through underneath the shifter boot, through the console, and then up to my plate. So right now I'm marking them. So one's gonna be ground, two's gonna be power, constant power, and then the third one's gonna have nothing on it, and that's gonna represent the on and off directly to the fan. Because what I got to do is, you see, I have a lot of excess, so I'm gonna have to cut it, and I don't want to forget where I had them hooked up, and I don't want to have to retrace them, so I'm gonna cut it so it can just be just enough to go right here on this plate. So I'm gonna cut them like right here or something like that. So yeah, let me go ahead and run this third wire, and then cut them off, and then Then I'm gonna go get into this drill plate and I'm gonna cut a little circle and try to mount it with some super glue or something, or we'll figure it out. But yeah, let's go and do that next. Okay, so as of right now, we have the 3 cables, wires ran much shorter. And I can work with that on plugging these in. I just wish they weren't so stiff, so we're gonna try to figure that out and make sure the connections don't come loose when we're doing this. So next thing is I'm gonna take this little trim plate, get my drill out, and drill a hole big enough just to mount this toggle switch here in the center. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, drilled the little pilot hole. So all you need to do is just make it a lot bigger so that this can actually fit that circle right there. So yeah, we gotta get a lot bigger than that. So we're just gonna keep incrementally making it bigger and bigger until it sinks in there. So yeah. So we end up getting the hole big enough. As you can see, it kind of looks pretty good sitting in there. We end up having to use these bits, which are probably mainly meant for wood, but they worked out just as great. Got the job done a lot quicker because I didn't have drill bits big enough. So the next thing I'm gonna do is flip it here on the back and get this off my paint, and then just tighten down this little nut to make it a little more secure, and then make my my electrical connections. So yeah, let's go and try that out. Alright, so we got it all hooked up, and let's give it a test. And as you can see, it works if you can hear it. The only problem I'm having is the light on here is not lighting up. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna button it up and call it a day because I'm not gonna worry about some little light. I think the last thing I'm gonna do is go under the front and actually make a ground connection. But that's it for this this little section. And let's see, I'll get back to it after I button everything up. Car's all running. We're gonna give it a test drive and see how it actually works out. So it's all hooked up. Let's go and give it a test. As you can see, it works, no issues. So next thing I'm going to do is try to get this in the console as best I can without the connections coming loose, because these are very stiff cables. Then I'm going to go up to the front and make a ground connection and give it another test. And then we're going to test it here on the road. So let's get after that. Alright, so everything is hooked up and back together. I haven't tried it with the car running, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work. You see it still works there. I know this little panel here kind of is raised a lot, but I can always fix that a little later. To be honest with you, I don't like this. I don't like it, and here's why. I don't like having to go anything from non-factory to some sort of jerry-rig switch that I now have to watch my coolant gauge and make sure I turn it on so I don't overheat. I don't like that aspect. I just want to be able to, especially when it comes to cooling, to not have to worry about it. It's one thing if it's like traction control, but not cooling a car that can cause catastrophic damage if not done correctly. So here in the very, very, very near future, I'm gonna look for a new fan with fan control module, or just a fan control module by itself, and hook it all back up together the right way. They cost about $170 or $140 on Amazon or other sites. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be looking to purchase here within as soon as possible. I hope you guys like my little quick tutorial, quick little jerry-rig thing I did. I mean, I love this car. I love the way it looks. I'm trying to keep everything looking clean and professional. As you can see, I got the new seats. You know, the hood vents on the outside look great. Engine's cleaned up. So I want to install this to look as clean as possible, and I think I achieved that goal. So quick update, everyone. So the day after I installed that fan, so I had one day of messing with the fan switch and doing manually, the fan control module, the stock one, worked completely on its own. I wish I listened to the engineer at work and said give it a couple days, but I didn't want to take that risk and go into a weekend of not having the fans hooked up and possibly the track session I was trying to do. So I went up and returned the fan control module from Rock Auto. It cost about 120 bucks, and everything's been working fine. So I don't have to use a toggle switch, but it's still hooked up just in case. If you haven't been to the channel before, please like, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.